I take this opportunity to also thank all the organizers from the Food and Agriculture Organization, the Regional Office for Asia Pacific, from IFAD, from AFA, and of course the SARC Agriculture Center for having us here in this meeting. This is indeed a very important discussion which we are having as a follow-up to the UN Food Security Summit in the last year. So my task here today is to also share with you about some of the progress which was made on the stakeholders' commitments. From our side, it's more on the ICA, the International Cooperative Alliance, as to how do we look forward to addressing the challenges in the food systems per se, which are of course brought in by the COVID-19 pandemic. To give a quick introduction, my name is Mohit and I head the Partnerships and Resource Mobilization Vertical at the International Cooperative Alliances Asia and Pacific Office here in New Delhi. For some of you who may not be very much aware about the ICA, I'll just share a quick introduction. The organization is one of the oldest serving long-standing organization in the global arena. It's a non-profit international association which was established in 1895 to advance the cooperative business model. So it's also an apex organization which represents cooperatives worldwide. As of now, it's close to 317 such members or cooperative federations and organizations and institutes which are working with cooperatives across 110 countries. We are working in 4 regions as such. So you may see on the slide on your screen, we have a region in Europe, one for the Americas, one in Africa, and I'm speaking to you here from the Asia Pacific region in New Delhi, India. The global body also represents in terms of scale close to 1 billion members from anywhere around 3 million cooperative enterprises worldwide. And if you were just to rank the top 300 cooperatives, we actually come up with a study every year which is called the World Cooperative Monitor. So as per the WCM or World Cooperative Monitor 2021, which was out last year, the top 300 cooperatives in the world, which of course come from agriculture and allied sectors as well, have a global turnover of close to 2.1 trillion US dollars, which also acknowledges the whole economic size and scale and of course the rich history of the cooperative organizations working for all these years. When I speak to you from the Asia Pacific region, we of course have the mandate to serve ICA members in this very region, and of course including our several members from South Asia as well. We also have sectoral and thematic focus areas, which as you may see on your screen are about agriculture and allied sectors like consumers and forestry and credit and banking as well. We also go on to look at the importance of and inclusion of women and youth and human resources also in the cooperative landscape. Speaking of some of the work that has been done through the past few months from the UN Food Systems Summit, cooperatives have of course been able to establish and continue to work upon themselves as a valued partner in the global effort to establish a more sustainable food system. And we have been part of several such consultations, which are the platforms where the ecosystem is developing and promoting food security policies. Cooperatives have been continuing their engagement to ensure that there is access to safe and nutritious food for all. We've also been leading the efforts to shift to sustainable consumption patterns, with some of our cooperatives leading the way here. It's also useful to see how cooperatives are helping to boost nature positive production in many countries, especially in South and Southeast Asia, from our experience. And of course, they continue to advance equitable livelihoods and build resilience, especially towards vulnerabilities like climate change and shocks and stress and disaster management arenas. One of the key reasons why cooperatives have been able to do so is, of course, that they provide this unique form of collective insurance and management of risks, which includes benefits for food security for smallholder farmers, especially so in farmlands, especially in South Asia, as we know, do not have large farmlands. So smallholder farmers are a high majority here in the South Asian region. And cooperatives have been able to work with these farmers to provide access to markets, ability to reinvest in small holdings, and also higher shares from the consumer's price in the whole value chain. So we have been continuing to discuss with governments to enhance the role of cooperatives in scaling up production, as well as to ensure that a better position is available for individual farmers and fisher folk and others in the allied industries throughout the supply chain. Talking about some of the initiatives which ICAP or its members have been undertaking in the region in this arena. One, of course, a key area has been our work with several partners who are also present in this meeting on the United Nations Decade of Family Farming, and how can we have a roadmap for strengthening smallholder family farmers in South Asia. So we worked with SAC, with AFA, with FAO, RAP to come up with this regional action plan very recently, which is having a strong focus on farming's constraints, challenges, opportunities, and government policies, which can be contributed to attaining the SDGs and its targets at the country, as well as a South Asia regional level. Of course, the next step now is that we are working to get this endorsed by the SAARC Secretariat, and also to engage on discussions, how do we operationalize and implement some of the recommendations made by the various pillars under the family farming roadmap. Apart from that, if I may say, one of the key areas of engagement has also been SDG 2 on end hunger. And to give you an example, our member in ESDC, or Economic and Social Development Center in the Middle East country of Palestine, has been working very closely with its constituencies, with its members, with its farmers and fisher folk in the region to improve the food security, especially by strengthening the resilience and adaptive capacity of these small-scale farmers. It does so by actually improving the service delivery capacity, by giving them trainings and capacity building on their business and institutional aspects or technical aspects of their livelihoods and businesses. All of this work also comes especially under this target 2.1 of the SDG 2 on end hunger, which is where the focus remains on ensuring access by all people, and especially so the poor and the people in the vulnerable situations, including infants, to actually have safe, nutritious, and sufficient food all around the year by the year 2030. So that's a key area of our work in the region. Some of the other work is also, as we progress, more so on promoting climate resilient practices. For all we know, both South Asia, or in fact the whole of Asia Pacific region as well, is one of the most vulnerable regions in its ability to endure regular devastation due to climate change. There has been several tsunamis or droughts or heat waves, as we see in the last few years, which has not only impacted the crop production or eroded the soil and forest cover per se, but also has been having its impact on loss of human and cattle lives. So this is where we see a lot of food insecurity and loss of livelihood opportunities for our cooperatives and farmers in the region, which, as you know, in the whole region has a very strong membership base in agriculture and fisheries and forestries, as also in consumer sector. So in the whole value chain, we decided to also have a strong focus on how do we promote climate resilient practices through cooperatives in the region, and have been having several capacity building programs for cooperatives to be able to address food security concerns while they tackle climate change and make sure that production, processing, and marketing remains as less risky or less vulnerable as possible due to climate and other hazards. Also to share an example.
You have 1 minute, Mohit?
Sure. Just winding up slowly. One example we're sharing about our members and friends from the Maldives. We have a Maldives Fishermen's Association, which has been working especially so on SDG 12, on the target to make sure there's responsible consumption and production in the value chain. This is also in line with the target 12.3 within the SDG 12 to halve the per capita global food wastes at both the retailing and consumer levels, so that there's less of food losses along the whole supply chain, including in the post-harvest losses. So last 4 things that we may say, how have cooperatives in the region been able to address challenges brought by the COVID pandemic, especially so in the food systems ecosystem. One, we can say it's by enhancing the whole awareness and promoting the identity of cooperatives. So here is an example of one of the largest cooperatives in India and South Asia as well. It goes by the name Indian Farmers Fertilizer Cooperative, or IFCO, which is also wholly owned by cooperatives. So it has been having some good innovation in terms of nano fertilizers and being able to reduce farm losses and farm wastage. And it has been also making sure that it promotes the cooperative identity or the brand value of cooperatives in the whole process. So that's one thing we've seen, that how cooperatives have been addressing these challenges and also able to promote the whole socio-economic model for the people and by the people. We've also seen some of our members disrupting the dominant model by leveraging some key trends we see in the last few years. So this is an example of Sanasa Cooperative in Sri Lanka, which has been working closely with tea and paddy farmers and reinventing the way insurance is seen in these sectors to be able to have access to a scarce capital, and also to provide training and technological tools to the farmers in the country by giving innovative products and insurance of farm gate commodities.
Okay.
Last topic, again, it's more so about enabling environment. How do we make sure that policy ecosystem remains intact and enabling for the region? So we have also been studying how legal frameworks work for family farmers, for cooperatives in South Asia, and have come up with the recent report. And of course, our friends from the Women's Federation from SEVA have also been working with young farmers and young women in the cooperatives in India to make sure that there is a good shift to the younger generation of cooperatives as well, by also going through non-traditional livelihoods and bridging the whole digital divide due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much for your time and consideration for the presentation. I look forward to hearing your views and comments here on. Thank you.